Welcome everyone to the Master Vox for another riveting Squire Joust Tournament. Today we have our famous co-caster. Introduce yourself.
Graham Slam.
And Graham, would you like to introduce the players that we have going on today?
Yeah, we'll work on the intro for you guys for next week. We're still testing things out, but yes. So on the left-hand side here in the blue, we have Ranick playing as Ski Jaeger Maverick. On the right, we have Leisu.
I'm saying Leisu.
Yeah, we'll go Leisu playing as 358 Maverick. And so while their income picks are very standard, the divisions are kind of wild for today's meta.
Oh yeah, no, I love the off-brand, like, Wish divisions that we got nowadays. Like, it's so cool seeing the old ones.
Yeah, I used to be a huge fan of Ski Jaeger back in the day. It was sexy. The KV2, that thick boy, dope. You had T-3485s on a German division. Always felt like they were more accurate, even though, statistically they weren't, right? And then 358, which is kind of like the bastard child for so long until they added the 25 mils.
That is true. With the 25 mil AA made a huge difference for these guys. Oh, real quick, everyone listening, thank you for watching the Master Vox again, but please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to try this early and see if it actually makes a difference. So I just had to throw that out there.
Right, they need to hit that YouTube algorithm. Let's pump those rookie numbers up. But actually, speaking of rookie numbers, we see the Sturm Ski Jaeger running into the Grupa Zachitsky, however you pronounce that Russian.
Oh, yeah.
But those dudes are actually really nasty because they had the Suomis instead of PPSHs. So they are really nasty in a CQC fight with a little bit of extra range. It's one of the unique units that 358 actually has that most people don't know about.
Yeah, I think that the Suomi and the Finnish DLC was the first time they added in a 150-meter SMG. And it makes such a huge difference because people don't realize that when you hit 100 meters against these guys, your accuracy improves because you're at a 50-meter closer range than you're supposed to be. And while an MP40 only engages you at 100 meters, the Suomi and the Beretta and every Eastern European bullshit SMG hits you at 150.
Oh. Yeah, you're 100% correct. It was a massive gameplay change that on the surface, like you talked about, seems subtle, but eventually when you get to the nitty-gritty, it's huge. And we see here, they annihilate those Sturmjägers. They needed a leader, I think. Not just the Stug, but yeah, I think you need an infantry leader there. But they were vet and single vetted up, but he's going to get pushed back here. There's T-70s and T-60s, which are actually kind of nasty, or at least T-70s, because it does have APCR, and that extra crit chance can kind of mess with the Stugs in CQC.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is, these Sturmski Jaegers, if they were just to hold up in these, like, green forests right along the edge, that 400-meter SMG, or not SMG, but the MP44, oh god, the off-map, this is Ski Jaeger right here. You get two of them, right, in A-phase?
Yeah, it's two with the 80 points, right? Or 100 points?
It won't let me click on it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but the P39 here by Leisu is really smart. You know they're going to jump into it, and this is going to die right here. This P39 is going to...
It teleported! No way. It teleported!
Wow, that was wild. Now, he does kill the 109, which is nice, because the 109 was panic bought to save the off-map, but still... The off-map charge will go down. We just have to now see, can Ranick actually piece together an assault correctly timed with that off-map drop?
Yeah, and I think he'll be able to because he has his Ski Jaeger Pioneer, which are ridiculous in close combat, and a lot of Sturm Ski Jaeger coming up, so I don't know if he's going to run up and try to surrender people, or if instead he's going to just try to push it the old-fashioned way.
I imagine you're going to try and go up the gut here. Now, he's got to be careful. You don't want to get in your own barrage, but at the same time, Leisu does have a lot of extra support. There's M2A1s, there's T60s, BA10s, T26s. Nothing necessarily like really sexy, although the ISU 122 coming out kind of is. But a lot of fire support to stop infantry. So he needs to unblob a little bit, get this infantry spread out, and then you could see a really nasty attack because he has some great units right now.
And the other good thing is that Stug still being alive provides all the leadership for this. Oh, the T26, is he getting ballsy?
Yeah, T26 is getting a little crazy right here. Jumping up. Yeah, a bounce right there. Stug tanks it. But on the problem right there, their ISU 122 does have an angle from below. Okay, no, he just moved out of range. Yeah. But he needs to be careful because that ISU, that's a big boy.
That is the 358's answer to most things right there with a 200 millimeter penetration.
Yeah.
That's the IS-2 gun, basically, right? The A19 cannon?
Yes, yeah. I think technically they're different guns, but yes, it's the same. They are 122 millimeters, and it will one-shot your tanks.
Yeah, that 12 damage. Oh, it's so rough when you're not expecting it.
Oh, so the Sturmski Jaeger and the Ski Pioneers are now going in. There isn't actually a lot of infantry right in front of them. The Superior Comrade's there. And we see the Stuk. Oh, the T70 did get an APCR hit, I think, a pin. Let me look at oh, no, it didn't. If you look at the model, it looks fine.
Oh, yeah, I guess it bounced.
Yeah, it must have bounced.
This
you're trying.
This Stug is like, I need your clothes, your motorcycle, and all that fun stuff right now. Like, he's just taking it. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely going to town here. An IL-2 coming in right now to try and go ahead and dissuade it. This is not the IL-2 with the ground attack, or the anti-tank weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 37s. But nice bomb drop there, killing one skier, but and stunning a lot and kind of pushing him back. Though then again, like, Ranick can push up here. The 50 mil is kind of coming up. There's a Strelky. But none of this infantry is scary if you're him. Oh, the T-34-85 died down south.
Yeah, was that the 122 doing that? It was. Yeah, the 122 got eyes on.
Oh yeah, she's fired 2 shots. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, if I like move it just right, I can see line of sight right to where that was. He's like, nope, I'm gonna go pick this guy off real quick, because that VZ VOD PTR team probably saw that like T-34-85, and he's like, nope, got to deal with this real quick.
Yeah, that the Vizad team right there is actually really nasty because it's the 2 Lotties, which is just a crate. That's actually a pretty.
Yeah.
They're great at sniping half tracks, one-shotting transports. That one T-34-85 in the back there for Ranick, that could be really crucial in breaking through this position, but it stayed in the back there. There's no AT on its opposite side. It's like just a sniper team.
Yep.
Though he has brought out the big old KV-2 towards the upper portion, heading towards the upper middle, but an ISU 122 has been bought out by Leisu as well, to kind of counter it.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have like a really interesting Russian-on-Russian 2K engagement over here to like determine the fate of this compound that the Maxim and the Cherno-Pezagniki are in.
Yeah, and the ISU will win the fight. The KV-2 is pretty nasty for 90 points. It does have 100 frontal armor, 160 pin, but it's a very slow firing weapon. So is the ISU 122, but it only has 8 AP shells.
It only has 8 AP shells and a 30% accuracy, while the ISU 122 has a 35% accuracy. It's also pretty shit on the 3 rounds a minute. But we're getting down south, more off map.
Yeah, and the P-39 should come out here too. I'm surprised he's.
It is.
Oh, what just sniped the T-30? Oh, the ISU got the T-34 back there. Really nasty shot because he moved it up to the high ground here. So the off map's going to drop here, but this plane will die. Yeah, sniped out of the sky right there.
Yep.
Crashing right in front of those Chernos. Another 109 bot, and I don't like that by Ranick. So that's 2 109s he's bought. One of them kind of, I feel like, in panic. And the first one just got annihilated. And this one here, you don't want to head-on P-39s. It's actually one of the better fighter planes when it comes to the head-on engagement. The 109s just really, they don't excel at that.
So with that, would you say that 358 has decent head-on capabilities with having IL-2s and the P-39s? Or, yeah, the IL-2s and the P-39s, just for head-on engagements?
Yeah, they're both, because of the cans that they have attached to them, they're very good head-on aircraft. The P-39 does have some deficiencies, but it's not a bad fighter plane. At least it didn't used to be, and I haven't noticed it in my recent playings that there's anything wrong with it. Oh, direct hit on the 50 mil by the off map. But I would say here, 358's big weakness has been and will be its AA. The M17 is not worth bringing. It almost never has been because of the 750 meter range. Like the way ranging works in this game, it's basically gonna have to jump right on top of it. Yeah. So it just kind of doesn't. It just doesn't really make sense for that to kind of happen.
And especially with the fact that what you're looking for with AA isn't to kill, but it's to stun as it's coming in for its attack run.
Yes, right. You're 100% correct there. Oh, the IL-2 actually is back out, and so. Where's he going? Oh, he's going for the. Yeah, he's gonna go for the MG42 and the sniper team up there in the north, right there. And yeah, so a lot of very aggressive play here by Leisu in terms of like his airplay, whereas he's been very stable with his ground units using some Strelky DP, but really highlighting the light fire support. Now, this M17 here with that 50 cals, she can shred some infantry.
Oh yeah, it's like 4 Shermans just unloading with their 50s. It's such a beautiful sight. With the Lord's Caliber over there, oh yeah. Oh yeah,
I actually don't think at this point, this concave, while his infantry is better, Ranick is, that's a nasty concave. There's T-70s, there's ISUs, he's got infantry kind of spread around, and while he might be able to just brute his way through. Oh wow, quad stack of Jaeger Pioneers being brought out. He needs something to deal with the armor, especially that ISU, because that will dominate any engagement that happens here.
And I don't really think Ski Jaeger's that competent when it comes to dealing with like heavy armor, like an ISU or an IS2. Like, I think they're really good with dealing with medium armor just because you have the Stugs, you have the Pac 40s, you have the RSOs, and the Martyrs, of course. But anything heavier than like heavy medium armor, so like a KV, this division is going to really struggle with.
It has a cluster card, right?
I think so.
I think it has a... Yes, it has one J87 cluster card. So he does have that available to him to actually deal with it, and there's been no anti-air... I mean, the M17's there, but I really don't count that. You have to be right on top of it before it's really engaging. So he could, especially up north, just one M17 is not going to stop those J87s. But the KV2s are... I'm looking to see if he'll bring his other one out. You just don't want to get into a long-range anti-tank battle like you talked about on Sluts Geese. And it kind of just shows the deficiency of Ski Jaeger for this map. Like, 358 is a better pick specifically for this map.
Yeah, I think that what we're looking at here is Ranick pretty much thought that his superior infantry might be able to push through these areas. I think that he might have forgotten about the Grupas that cheat ski or the support weapons that 358s can bring in, because you have to think, like, first Ski Jaeger, or just the Ski Jaeger in general, has amazing infantry, and they can go toe-to-toe with anything within 400 meters to, like, 100 meters because of their close quarters and their highly automatic weapons. But what they lack in highly automatic weapons, they can't really make up for in that super long range engagement, because you have to think at 2K range, the only thing that Ranick has right now is the KV2 and a Guerrilla. So he's going to be outclassed by the what is it?
Oh, and
6.
the KV2 is dead.
Oh, that ISU 122 did it?
Yeah, she burning one of two. Yeah, she burned over there up in the middle portion to the north.
Oh yeah. But just the fact that 358th does have that 2K support element stuff going on, it's going to make Ranick's life really hard, especially seeing as though the off-map wasn't able to break through on the top like he needed it to.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be... The opening infantry engagements in SC2 are so important. You know, this isn't quite like Wargame Red Dragon, where, you know, it completely decides the game in a lot of situations. But you really need to win those opening infantry fights, because that's going to dictate your next level of purchases. And so as the game goes on, if you're trading poorly in the infantry game, you're almost certainly going to start to lose across the board. And we see that here as Leisu bombs a Pac 40 with his IL-2. So much value he's gotten out of those two IL-2s. His ISUs are completely uncontested on the ground here. The only thing that's going to effectively deal with them on this map is going to be the cluster bombers. And if you're Ranick, why would you even buy a cluster bomber when you know he's got fighter aircraft at it? You know what I mean? It's hard to make that commitment.
Especially those P-39s, when you know that your 109, like, which is going for the IL-2 right now, is about to get P-39s.
Yeah, the P-39 itself isn't a great fighter because it does have resilience is bad. It's Julia's only medium, but it does have the 230 mils. So it's a very nasty fighter. Straight, you see right there, just blapped it right.
Yeah, it made a really weird Jade hook too. So it did fantastic there.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the sexiest thing, you know. It's not the nice little Italian, the Italian ones, which are just kind of crazy for their price. But it is it will kill things, right? It is good at doing that. And 109s, their maneuverability just doesn't shine if you're going to head on a P-39.
No, and I want to point something out here. Ranick is literally building up the biggest of all infantry blobs I've seen in any cast, and just preparing to shove it down his throat.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
I agree. I think that right now that Leisu has a really good support by fire element with all the T-26s, the M17, the T-70, all these Chernos to absorb the original impact. And the only thing that Leisu has over here for armor right now is half-tracks and a T-34 and a Stug. So I think that he might attempt this push with the additional off-map plane. So I think that's going to be the key there. Because if he can break through that defensive line, he should be able to like push through and exploit a lot of this map, especially in the southern portion.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets a good off map, and now would be the time because the P-39 left, if you wanted to do it. But there's so much support equipment here, and that's just kind of like when you see with some of these Soviet divisions. While they're not as flashy as their German counterparts today, they don't quite have as much elite infantry, right? But the ability, you have T-26s, T-70s, ISU-152s, IL-2s. You know, they have so much cheap fire support, and because of the way suppression works with MGs, they can be very hard to push into at times. And Ranick, just because of the limitation of his deck here, look at the IL-2 going to come and get free Sea Jaeger kill, full, full suppress on that ski Pioneer Fear. I think that's his last T-3045. I think that's the last one.
He has 4 in his deck because he doesn't vet them, so...
3 have died, right?
I think so.
At least 2 have.
Yeah.
For sure 2 have.
Now, I want to also point out one thing about Soviet divisions versus a lot of the Western Allied divisions is your availability of PTRDs, and you can't really... Yes. I mean, unless you're playing, like, 1st Airborne, who has bazookas on everyone, like, you can't deal with half-tracks as well... Unless you have, like, that Soviet PTRD, because it takes, what, 2 hits to kill a half-track?
Oh, 2. Yeah, 2, I believe, yeah. Oh, he buys a double SDKFZ, the 37 mils, I believe, right there.
Oh, God. I don't care what he just bought when there's 2,000 kilograms of bombs dropping from 2 TU-2s.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's totally... He panic buys that as the bombers, the Soviet Air Force makes his presence felt here. He does need to recall them. You don't want to lose any of your TU-2s. They are still... McNasty, they pretty much have in the entirety of this game's life cycle. Yeah. But the Soviet Air Force is making its presence felt in this game, and Me-410 being brought out here. Actually, now I want to see, because we're going to see if the M17, if it even engages here. I don't. So it's still not. So it's just no.
2K and it still didn't engage.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sucks.
I think that the M17 can be used as a really good like fire support element, like kind of like a Gepard with a 20 mil, but with 4 or 50 cals, so you can suppress things. But for the purpose of anti-air, I think you just take the pass on it. And what's the other option they get for AA? They get the 25 mil. So take the 25 mils in A, because you get so many of them, and that P39.
The CU2 might die because he hasn't recalled it.
Oh, yeah, and the 220 mil. Are those 20 mils? No, those are 37s. Yeah, that TU2 might... 37s.
Yeah, she's smoking right now already. Maybe it makes sense because it's a TU2 and they just don't die. But he got pretty close there.
Yeah, he got real close to death. And he's bringing out... Like, he's listening to us right now. He's bringing out those 25 mils.
Bringing out 25 mils, but he's also bringing out the big boy 152s right now.
Oh.
So he hasn't even driving this far forward, but... Yeah, he's going to go and bring the big boy artillery. And, I mean, he drops it pretty much anywhere because Ranick is so clumped up. He's going to do damage.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out up north, by that ISU 122, you have the 122 actual artillery piece. And one thing I want to point out to the crowd that's watching right now is that 122 heat shell is amazing because it will one-shot any tank if you can hit it within 1,500 meters. It's an old trick I use in 7th Estonian, is using those as anti-tank guns.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious to see as we're seeing this unfold right here. I'm not quite sure what Ranick's plan is. You know what I mean? Like, when we look at it here, it's kind of like he's got this idea that he's going to take these giant infantry blobs and throw them forward. But as we see here, like the T-60, it's doing really... I mean, look at this. They're about to kill this SDKFZ right there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, remember one thing I want to point out to you is, like, when we're casting these Squire Joust tournaments, it's, like, the gambit of, like, lower mid-tier to higher mid-tier for the Kingdom of the Noobs. So, we have to remember that sometimes these players will be newer. And I think that one thing we need to point out is the fact that you need to spread out your infantry and not clump up. And do you have any other advice? So you've been playing some SD2. What you would recommend instead whenever it comes to like how you would deploy your infantry for like a newer player who's still figuring it out?
I'm an SD2 noob. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hush. You got what, like 4th place or something like that in Division 2 years ago?
All right, hold on. I've made some 2nd place in some tournaments finals. Let's put a little respect on the name there.
Okay, so 2nd place in what division, though?
Okay, well, I didn't get 2nd place in Div 2. I don't remember what I placed in Div 2. I don't remember what I placed in Div 2. But anyways, that's not important. Yeah, so I think a big thing people need to understand is that you want coverage. So the more, it's almost like real life, you know? Like if you're blobbed up as an infantry unit, you're more susceptible to everything. So when you're taking positions in a town, he doesn't even need that much infantry to hold the town. People, especially newer players, they always think they need like 6 infantry units to hold a town. And in reality, for the most part, you need like 2. You know what I mean? Like maybe 2, a leader sometimes, but you want the majority of your units pushing where you're concentrated where you're trying to attack, and you need distance between them, so that way when AoE comes in, artillery, bombers, a tank's firing HE, you're not getting stunned universally because that's forcing you to fall back, and newer players are typically pretty slow with their fallback order, which is the most important button in infantry engagements in the game.
Yeah, it's the R button. Oh yeah, no, 80% damage reduction or something like that, I think, right?
Yes, I don't remember the exact number, but that 80% sounds roughly correct. It's insane, no matter what it is. It's why disheartened troops for so long were so important, because they kind of just did the R button on their own sometimes.
Yeah.
The way disheartened trait works. But yeah, so Ranick is doing it more than Leisu. Leisu is a little more spread out, but it's still, because if you think about it, if either of them had really good off-map shots, these whole blobs are getting obliterated. Like, you're losing entire chunks of units purely because you didn't want to put that, create some separation inside of what is a pretty decent, town area.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you overestimate how many units you need to actually take a position. And if you need 15 units to take a spot, it's not worth trying to take.
I agree. You need to push somewhere else on the map where the flags are. And I can use an example of that up north towards against the river, right? Where you have Leisu almost holding that with a Cherno and a Strokey, even though there's like 8 Sturmjäger over here, but he doesn't know, because you're projecting the front line, and the other player has to determine, do I push, do I not push? And I think it can be a mind game whenever you're holding with less place or with less units,
No, absolutely. Oh, wow, the SCQFZ got blapped there by something. Yeah, or up north, I would say, like, if you want to get, hey, you're bottled up, you're not sure what you want to do, and you need to kind of change the dynamic, I probably wouldn't push on the river because there is a line of ISUs.
Yeah.
So that's, kind of, that's probably a little difficult. Eventually, you're going to run into a wall there. But go north. Maybe it doesn't win you the game. Maybe it at least forces your opponent to react to you instead of pushing into what are essentially prepared positions. Like this off map here, it's actually down here. Lisa's done a good job. All these Chernos are spread out, and so they are Chernos too. So you see immediately they fall back on their own because of this hardened trait as they get fully suppressed, which is why this hard infantry can be so, so nice to have sometimes. But it's a minimal amount of points. What is that? 30? We're saying 30, 45. So
there were 4. One unit just died.
Yeah, one got obliterated. So it's hardly any points in the grand scheme of things holding the front line, and then if Ranick decides to follow up with this in a full attack, he now knows, hey, minimal amount of units, letting me know 300-point attacks coming in, how can I respond? In his response, I mean, he has ISUs, he has C-26s, he bought double ISU, my man was floating.
Oh yeah, he was.
Double ISU. Yeah, I mean, this is done.
Oh, also, real quick, for deck building purposes, try to avoid these Zis transports that the Zis 3 just came in. You have enough Studebakers in most of the Soviet divisions to where you can just go through and get a better transport, because it'll allow the Zis 3 to be able to get into a position a lot quicker than with that, ZSU transport.
Yeah, you don't want the big old half-track thing. I think it actually is armored, which is kind of funny. But yeah, there's no value to it whatsoever. It's way too slow. By the time it's bringing up whatever unit you need, the situation has long passed. While the Stug right there dying to the T-3476, showing its side armor. And we see here, just look at the top of the hill there. These 152s are raining in. They're stunning everything. They're killing everything. This is what happens when you blob. You make yourself a target. And right now, Leisu could be the worst artillery player in the entire game of SC2, and he would get maximum amount of value out of his artillery right now.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to point out is I think he's using the radio from the VZ-VOD UPR, so the VZ-VOD leader that's in the southern portion of the town, affecting the northern portion for these 152s to get better accuracy. Because if you look at their circle, it's like super small. It's like first day of prison small.
Oh. That got real right there. I wasn't expecting that. I gotta somehow recover myself mid-cast. But yeah, so it is very small. I don't know about that small. I'm surprised more towards the north here that Leisu hasn't just pushed Ranick fully back. I mean, he has so much firepower with the 2 ISUs. I mean, just a light screen of infantry to spot and let the big boys do damage, and he would completely obliterate in that middle portion of the map.
I also want to point out this 122 is firing direct fire as if it's a guerrilla right now. And
yeah,
that just killed
really
it.
Common back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day, the 122 you would bring up and use a direct fire because of the heat.
Oh, that is fair. So not only would you use it like I want to use it for the anti-tank purposes, but you could use it as a giant guerrilla. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, because like the range on the HE is whatever, right? So you can use the HE, you know, as the artillery function. But back then, I believe it had 2,000 meter. Yeah, back in the day, because everything had 2,000 meter range.
Yeah.
It had 2,000 meter range on the heat. So the 160, it was actually a really good unit that Soviet decks had if they didn't have really like a good counter against like Tigers or Panthers.
Yeah, and I've used it plenty of times against Tigers and Panthers, and when I'm playing 7th Estonian, it's always funny to watch people, like, you could see, like, they're like, what the hell just happened when a 122 just heat shells their big kitty cat.
Yeah, I mean, it's 80 points for a 160 millimeters of pin. So it's, the downside, I think, is the accuracy on it. Like, that's what really hurts it. I think it's pretty, what is it, 40%? Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible, but it is a little bit low, and you do have to get to 1,500 meters.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the Tu-2 just annihilated a whole company's worth of German infantry. Wow, they just got obliterated. That was brutal.
Yeah, those Tu-2s with 1K, oh god, the 1K bombs are so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the Tu-2, you know, the P2, Tu-2 kind of like combo that Soviets could bring back in the day, and obviously still here, they were so nasty because they just wouldn't die, right? Like, the Tu-2s can get some pretty impressive payloads, like you talked about, but they don't die to AA fire. So if they do get stunned and pushed back, they're still coming back, and eventually, if you have artillery, you could wear down. And so the IL-2 Tu-2 combo was really nasty, and it's awesome to see at this day and age, you know, in 2023, you can still see older Soviet decks bring forth some firepower, and obviously, you know, a portion of it is that he's fighting Ski Jaeger.
Well, yeah, because Ski Jaeger have just a horrible time with any, like, kind of anti-air defenses.
Yeah, their strength isn't anti-air. Now, you can get enough pieces up to help you, and he did, you know, lose his 2 A pieces.
Yeah. Also, I honestly think that Ranick's 410s are an evac Winchester. Because I don't see like, I didn't see a withdrawal order whenever he did a bomber. So real quick, never have evac Winchester. You always want to control it because you can use those ME 410s to front on and kill other aircraft.
Yeah, it's always better. I know sometimes newer players, they're worried they might just lose the plane because they'll forget about it and let it loiter, which is a risk, but you need to teach yourself to give it orders, because a lot of times just simply giving it an order somewhere after the bomb drop will help you better avoid AA, and then, like you said, maybe you need to head on a plane, maybe you want to strafe something, because the ME-14 can't strafe. I don't know how good it is anymore at strafing, but you know what I mean, like, it has that option.
It's what, still 420 mils or some random stuff like that? Like,
it can stun something, right?
It will stun something, and it's meant for, like, anti-bomber purposes. God. Oh, yeah, that, those Ski Jaeger just got fucking splatted. Oh.
Rip. Pour one out for the Ski Jaeger boys. They're getting annihilated real time like it's 1944. And these 152s, they've just been firing pretty much non-stop, which is, you know, I don't know if that's Leisu microing it or just kind of giving it the fire at will order, but regardless, it's nice to see if you're going to spend, you know, 120 points times 2 for some artillery, get maximum amount of value, and he's 100% done that.
I honestly think it's like actual him microing it just for the simple fact that they've been targeting the exact same thing every time.
Yeah. Oh, HU-111.
Ooh, is this the 1K bomber too? Oh, 2 1K bombs. Ooh.
Yeah, but he's going to get dissuaded here by the M17. He's going to go, oh, no, he won't. Damn.
No, you expected the M17 to do anything? Let me stop you there.
He almost got it. He was pretty forward. He disrupted the bomb drop a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he still got kills, but the M17 was pretty forward right there. That's a pretty forward position for it.
But it has to be.
Yes, no, 100%. The M17 can do something. It's just by itself, it needs to be so far forward. As you saw there, it's pretty much near the front line. It still couldn't stop the HE-111.
Yeah, no, it's at the front line. Now, I know they buffed... Oh, God, here comes the off-map again. I know they buffed the 50 cals in the last patch to where they do increase suppressions, and I think they did that specifically for the M17, just so it wouldn't affect game balance in any other divisions. Is that a long barrage at the crossroads? That's not emergency, and that's not fire for effect. That's...
No, that is. Yeah, it's the long. You never want to do that.
Yeah, the only time you want to do that's with the riverboat, because you get a 10-minute barrage at an area.
Yeah, and even then, I think the emergency is typically better because it's like the Death Star firing into a circle, so like whatever you put inside that circle is pretty much dying. But the off map here, you know, Ranick is obviously like, hey, I'm still in the game. I hear no bell. I'm throwing down. But the off map has lost any usefulness because there's literally nothing but a KV2 left. So like, he might get some damage here. He might even get some kills. Yeah. But it just doesn't matter. Oh yeah, no, the ML-120s they aren't firing. They're not actually out of ammo. You can just drop them on that little. Look at that blob down south. It's like that's a perfect off-map circle. Like almost like in terms of like where the displacement if you put it like right on top of that.
Yeah. But
like, you'd obliterate it.
So I wanted to. Oh, there goes Ranick surrendering. I just wanted to ask, so real quick, so I think that watching this, that Ranick is a newer player who's getting into the competitive field. Yes. And I know you're an old guy competitively, like I'm pulling you out of the nursing home at this point. So would you mind giving some pointers to the newer players that might be watching this? Especially like, it might not have to be Ski Jaeger, but like for this map specifically, like what do you think would be a good play and how would you envision them starting and carrying through that?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things that if you're new starting SD2 that are just going to help you. One, map knowledge is really important. There's a couple of good YouTube channels. I don't know if Vulcan or, Vulcan used to have a lot of stuff from back in the day. I'm sure there's some others. I don't know if you personally, do you have any map guy? I don't think, a lot of players didn't do that. But understanding the map that you're playing on, especially in a competitive setting, is really important. So any of the Sluts maps, you're going to want something with 2,000 meter range that has like kind of consistently, you can at least get a couple cards of. So that's important, knowing what your division actually brings to the table. When it comes to like just general gameplay tips, like how can you be better, I think the best thing that you really need to understand is that you're probably overthinking what you're doing. Give yourself a simple plan. What do you want to try and execute to the best of your ability, and then play the game from that point onwards. Build a deck that suits that plan, and then just kind of start to embrace the game. You're going to lose games. Like, trust me, you are going to lose games.
Oh, but yeah.
Accept that fact and just kind of embrace the suck a little bit, because within that, you're going to figure out how do you play best and move forward from there. And so, like, Ranick, I think the best thing he could do is spread his infantry out a little bit, pick a better deck for the map. that will help a lot too. Like Steel Division 2, just, you know this, you play tournaments still.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose the match purely off your deck choice.
You do, and that's why picks and bans is so important, especially if you look at like SD League or like, I think, the new Squire Joust Tournament and the Peasants are all dealing with bans now to get people used to them again. To where I think that the banning process is actually one of the biggest things for this, but that requires the most amount of like, I played this for 1,000 hours and I know exactly what divisions work on this deck, and that's what newer players run into.
Absolutely, and I think like if this was Orsha East, right? I think Ski Jaeger's a perfectly valid and fine pick, and he might have been able to win the game, right? But on a map that allows like a Soviet division like 358 to not really be afraid of it. An air tab too much, because really Ski Jaeger's air tab isn't crazy, and then allows it to utilize its heavy weaponry to its full extent, was just, at that point you need to pick a division that can counter that kind of range. And a lot of German divisions have it.
Yeah, honestly, I was about to say like not Ski Jaeger, Jesus. 78th Sturm is a perfect example of a division that came out with the game that it's still really good. And I think that it has a lot of the 2K availability that you'll need. So if you want to practice with a 2K range division,
Yeah.
I would honestly recommend 78th Sturm as that division for you, just to grind on quick play until you understand how to use those 2K assets to be able to support your infantry. Because your infantry are thick. They got all the fun things the Germans need. They have Grillas. They have a bunch of other 2K stuff. And
all you need to know is they have the Nashorn.
yeah, that's the other thing. And they have the Nashorn, so you can deal with anything another person plays that throws at you. You're just playing a more points-heavy division, so just understand that. But I would highly recommend for newer players trying to learn 2K to gravitate towards 78th Sturm.
Also, I would say something if like you want, some people like they want flashier. 21st is actually a really strong division right now that the Germans have, because it's a mix of both Panzer Grenadier and its hard infantry, and it has a ton of 2K options in the support tab, like an absolute shit ton of them.
Yeah, because what they have the Grilla, and then they have the French 2K
new one,
105,
French one, and the Brumbar.
Oh, and the Brumbar, yeah. So that's a lot of 2K HE. But do they get pack 43s? I think they do. They get a card, right?
They might get one card, but they also get Tigers, and not that I necessarily recommend it in a competitive setting, but they also do get King Tigers.
No, if you're new, don't take it. It's a noob trap. Don't do it.
Take that to the 10v10, my guy.
Yeah, no, but like, yeah, you're right. The Tigers, the Grillas, the Lorraines, all that fun stuff. So we got 21st and 78th Sturm. Give those a try. Play them on balance so you can try to grind it out, or V for victory, because that's been my favorite, but balanced, honestly, for newer players. So give those two a try, and then leave a comment and let us know if you tried it, if you liked it, especially if you're a newer player. Yeah, and subscribe. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Do that. Feed the algorithm gods. And with that, Graham, do you have any last words for the audience here?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Okay, and with that, thank you for watching this last episode of the Master Vox. We'll be back with you next week for another fun game of Steel Division. Have fun, and goodbye.